Just a thought. John chapter 8, verse 1. But Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives. Zechariah chapter 14, verse 4. And in that day his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem towards the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, towards the east and towards the west, a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south. In that day, which day is this, beloved? It's the day of Jehovah, when Jehovah will go forth and fight with those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. When Jehovah shall defend Israel. The day of Jehovah, of which we read in the book of Joel, chapter 2, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. A fire shall devour before them, behind them a flame burns. The day of Jehovah. The prophet Zephaniah says it's a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. The day of Jehovah. In that day his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives, the very mount from which he ascended up to heaven, the mount that overlooks that east gate through which the prince, the king, shall enter. In this 14th chapter of Zechariah, we take note of the times when the title Jehovah of Hosts is mentioned. In fact, in every chapter of this book, the title Jehovah of Hosts, the God who fights for his people, the God who fights against his enemies and the enemies of his people. Jehovah of Hosts. We are told in verse number 9, Jehovah shall be king over all the earth. Verse 10 tells us that Jerusalem shall be inhabited, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. Verse 11. The Feast of Tabernacles also is mentioned a number of times in this chapter. That feast of celebration, that feast of rejoicing, reliving and remembering the deliverances of Jehovah. What a time in the history of the nation of Israel. What a time for our blessed Lord Jesus, having come forth with power and great glory to judge and to make war. He shall reign in righteousness. He must reign. His feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.